Hey, movie fans. I saw the new Masters of the Universe movie this past Thursday at theaters. Now, I was really excited for this movie. I love the 2002 He-Man anime show. That's the anime He-Man show I grew up on. I've never seen the original He-Man anime series or the new one on Netflix. Also, you had Travis Knight, who directed Bumblebee, which I love, the only great Transformers live-action movie in my opinion, and he also directed Kubo and Two Strings, which I love that movie. So he was 2 for 2. When it comes to my thoughts with this new He-Man movie, I was not a fan of this Masters of the Universe movie. It didn't click for me personally. Let me start with the positives with this He-Man movie. I think the action scenes are fantastic in this movie. They have some really great, entertaining action scenes, and you really feel the brutality in action scenes. Like the movie does a great job of showing He-Man's strength in those action scenes. So action-wise in this movie, the action scenes were great. They had a really fun, like kinetic, brutal, entertaining action to it in this movie, and they were done really well. So I love the action scenes in this movie. They were really entertaining. Another positive with this movie is that I thought Jared Leto played Skeletor. He was a scene stealer in this movie. He was great as Skeletor in this movie. I love the voice he went with this serious Shakespearean voice. It really worked for me in this movie. And I think he does a great job of making Skeletor sound scary, while at the same time, you had some really funny moments with the Skeletor character too. Like I thought the humor with Skeletor when he was doing a joke, it was really funny. And think this movie does a great job of still having Skeletor be goofy in a funny way, while at the same time still keeping him terrifying and scary. And Jello does a great job of just between that with the voice, and it just looks straight out of the animated series. Like, I love the look of the of Atonia. I think it looks great in this movie. There's some great visuals in this movie, like like the character the Beastman, and just overall, I love how Antonia looks in this movie. They did a great job of bringing it to life. So visual wise, it looks great at times. There's other times where I think CGI looks a little wonky in this movie, so CGI doesn't always look great. Overall, I think there's some great visuals in this movie too. And like I said, I think Jared Leto is a scene steal in this movie as Skeletor. To me, he's the character that stands out. He was my favorite character in the movie. And the actress who played Teal, I thought she was great in this movie. I thought her and actor who played He-Man Prince Adam, I thought they had some great chemistry in this movie. I thought Idris Elba, I liked his character. I thought he was good in this movie as a man in arms, as Teal's adopted father. And and that would be really the positives with me. Like overall, I really liked Idris Elba as a character of Man in Arms. And I thought he was, good in this movie. So when it comes to the actor who played Prince Adam and slash He-Man, here's what I say about him. I think he's good for what he's giving to do in this movie. I think he's great as He-Man. When it comes to his version of Prince Adam, this isn't the actor's fault. So I'm forgetting the actor's name. Nicholas. When it comes to the actor who played He-Man, Nicholas, I just found his Prince Adam, and when we get into the negatives with this, is that the way his Prince Adam was written in this movie, I was not a fan of. Also, I do like the element of this movie where you have the idea of masculinity with men, how men need to be strong and all that. I like that element of the story, even though to me it felt surface level, and I felt like you could have like gone further with that story in my opinion. I like the element of that story about how like the masculinity meant how men need to be strong and all that. I just felt like he could have gone further with that part of the story. Now we get into the negatives, and like I hinted at, the way Pissed Adam is written in this, I can understand what they were going for. Like I understand they were trying to make Pissed Adam wimpy, so naive, so he's like different from when he transforms into He-Man. I totally get that. The problem with it in this movie for me is that they pushed it too far. Like he came off too wimpy and too goofy and too silly. Where I was just like, I just wasn't a fan of how Chris Adam was written in this movie. And to me, it's not the actor. I think he does a good performance for what he was told to do, how he was directed in this movie when it comes to how he played Prince Adam. This version of Prince Adam, though, just felt way too wimpy to a point where it didn't work for me. And also, the humor in this movie, outside of the humor with Skeletor, I found a lot of the humor to be really cringy and like cheesy in a really bad way where it wasn't funny to me. And I know He-Man will say, "Well, it's He-Man. It's it's supposed to be goofy." Yes, I understand the original anime show was silly and goofy, and maybe this is because I grew up when the 2002 anime show was fun and lighthearted, but also had a serious tone to it. Is that to me, this movie never found its tone. The first half I think is extremely bad, not funny, especially the Earthbound stuff. Second half, it does slightly get better. I do think it finds its footing a little bit. Overall, though, the tone never gelled with me in this movie. And that's fine with comedy and movies. I don't have a problem with that. As long as the comedy is funny and it doesn't pull me out of dramatic moments. That's one of the other issues is that every time they would do a joke in this movie, when they have a serious moment, it would ruin the moment because they would do a joke that wasn't funny. I also found a couple of times in this movie where they would stay on a joke for too long. There are times in this movie where I was just like, okay, can we move on from this joke? Like an example of this would be towards the end of the movie when all on a silk with the characters and all laughing, and they hold on to that and they hold on to that like of showing these characters laugh for a couple of like minutes, a couple of seconds. I'm just like, oh my god, can we move on from this joke? This wasn't funny in my opinion, and it just feels like in this movie there are times where they stay on a joke and it just comes off awkward. I'm just like, and it feels forced in this movie a lot of the comedy. So the humor just did not like work for me in this movie outside of Skeletor. And look, I think if you gel with the humor right away in this movie, you're gonna end up having a lot of fun and love this movie. Or if you grew up with the original He-Man animated series, I think you're gonna love this movie. You're gonna like or love this movie. For me personally, I never felt like the tone in this movie worked for me, and the humor just all the humor felt flat outside of the Skeletor humor. When Skeletor was making jokes, I found it really funny. When everybody else was making jokes, it just felt flat, and it just felt like it was too silly to a point where it just came off cringe and awkward. Another negative thing with this movie for me is that the actress who plays the sorceress, I feel like she's just wasted in this movie. I'm forgetting the name of the actress, but she was in the Deadpool movies as Vanessa, Deadpool's love interest. I think she's a great actress. She was also in Gotham, the TV show. She's been in a lot of things. She's a great actress. The sorceress in this movie, who created Sword, gave Prince his He-Man powers. I felt like her character really isn't in the movie all that much, and I felt like she was just kind of wasted actress in this movie. So as like I was disappointed in the fact that from what I remember, Sorceress is a pretty powerful character, and I feel like they don't really give the actress anything to do in this movie, and she's barely in the movie all that much. So I just was disappointed how that character was very, like just kind of wasted in this movie of Sorceress. You don't get a whole lot with that character, so I feel like she was very underutilized in this movie. And like I said about the humor, there's some humor where they just go back to a joke more than once, and I'm like, like the joke with Fisto. I was just like, with the character's name, I was like, okay, really, we're going back to this joke again. Like later on in the Acid scene, they go back to a joke with Wan Man. I think the name of the character is. I'm just like, okay, like there were times where it was kind of like repeating jokes with a joke they said earlier that wasn't funny, and I just like go back to a joke. I'm like, okay, this isn't still not funny. So, like I said, a lot of the humor just really wasn't working for me. Also, the actress who played Evil Lynn is that the name of the I think the name of the villain character who works for Skeletor, and I think the actress name is Alyssa B as Evil Lynn. Alyssa B, I think she's a great actress. She was in a horror movie recently together with her husband Dave Franco, so I thought she was fantastic in that. I think she's, like I said, I think she's a great actress. They gave her really nothing to do in this movie to work with wise. She didn't really work for me as a character. Like Skeletor's henchwoman, Evil Lynn, I just thought Alice's Bees like version of the character didn't really work for me, and I feel like they gave her really nothing to do in this movie character wise. I feel like she's just kind of there, her character, and like I don't know, stuff with her character I felt like she just didn't really work for me as a character. So I just felt like with her as a evil Lynn, it was one of those casting decisions that didn't really work for me personally. Overall, this is a movie that just did not gel for me. It's just I had a lot of problems with this movie. I can totally understand people having fun with this movie, or if you come out loving it. And like I said, if you're somebody who loves the original animated series, I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with this movie. I can also see people like me who come out going like, just it didn't work. For me, this is Travis Knight's weakest film by far, and I'm definitely disappointed in this movie. And look, like I said, I know some people are fine with a goofy He-Man movie. I get that because the original anime series was campy, cheesy, and goofy. But I feel like you can do a He-Man movie and have it be funny and have it be serious also. And for me, the comedy just really didn't gel for me in this movie. And I felt like they pushed it way too far. Wasn't a fan of how Piss Adam was written in this movie. I felt like they made him too goofy. The whole element of Matt Snelly with Matt, I felt like you could have gone further with that element of the story. And this movie just never found its tone for me. It felt like they couldn't figure out a way to make this extremely silly and goofy, more serious, and just to me never found the balance. And like I said, the comedy just wasn't funny in my opinion, at least for me. So that's my thoughts on the new He-Man movie. Until next time, movie fans.